Hey everybody, it's Jillian. Good morning, happy Saturday. Nice to see everybody. I'm working my ass off, obviously, all the time. My environment totally has changed here as it's beginning of summer because the air is so full of pollen. It's insane. And so every single time I go outside, I come back inside and I sneeze and I sneeze and I sneeze, and everything is great once I sneeze everything out. But I tell you what, it's like you could see the difference actually what a mask makes when you go outside with a mask on, like I did yesterday, and I wasn't sneezing as much. So there's something to the masks, but yeah, the pollen in the air is pretty crazy. So that's kind of like the world that I'm dealing with is the springtime, and oh my gosh, and the wind. So whatever. But anyways, there's two things I actually want to go over. And what triggered this was that, yeah, I do have people on my Facebook, which is awesome, that are not that they're in the world, but they have people in their world that are still very much against the vaccinations, against, everything in the pharmaceuticals, everything is GMO, everything that they have demonized or thought is to be the reason why they are where they are in their life. And so it dawned on me when I tag somebody in a post because we were going back and forth about words and intelligence, and then the microbiome and fungus and all of that. And so some of us are focusing on different components of the microbiome. And the microbiome are viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria. And there is a hierarchy. Viruses are actually the top of the pyramid. And at the bottom, the base are the proteins and the bacteria and the protozoa. Okay, and so once we understand that everything has intelligence, like everything, I don't care what it is, whether it's GMO, whether it's the chemtrails, whether it's 5G, everything has some level of intelligence. It's not what you avoid because you can't avoid things. I mean, obviously, if something is not FDA approved or it's not a food, then you don't eat it, obviously. But everything else in the environment, you can't avoid it. Now, the thing with the vaccines, you can choose whether or not to take the vaccines. But here's the thing. It's not about what you avoid, it's about what you bring into your body. Because you realize the avoidance industry, which is all the activist industry, they're steadily dying. They're depriving themselves of not only nutrition, but of energy, of conversion, opportunity to convert energy. They're depriving themselves of any opportunity to evolve to another level. And so this chick that, was friends with this chick that I tagged because, we were talking, I wanted to thank her for bringing that to light about everything is intelligence. I mean, the microbiome is intelligence, even the minerals. She's like, oh my God, what kills off intelligence is the vaccines, the GMO, the chemtrails, the 5G. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just like, okay, I deleted that comment because I mean, I'm the one that originated the post, so I don't want that on my wall. And even though it's on the other girl's wall, I don't want it on my wall. So I just said, you know what? Everything has intelligence. I don't care what it is. You could say that this has intelligence, but I mean, this could be reformulated into a food if it wanted to. You just break it down to its most basic edible state, soft state, and then you reformulate it and reconfigure it, and yeah, you could eat this, as long as it has other palatable properties. Not saying I'm going to eat my remote, but if you convert this into a food, it becomes palatable. And then you bring in other things in your body to help balance out what the predominant chemical element is in this. I mean, that's what people are saying, like, oh, margarine is like one molecule away from plastic. Yeah, so big freaking deal. Your body's made up of minerals. Okay, so yesterday when I focus on the CMOS, and be careful of CMOS because there's so much iodine, and iodine has very aggressive properties. Even though it's a covalent bonding, um, it also has an antibiotic effect. It's used in colds and flus and other types of things to stop a cold or whatever. And I've done the supplements industry. I've done the iodine, the all the different things that were recommended, in the holistic industry. And I really OD'd, I'm sure, on a lot of the supplements. And so I'm not saying anyone to not do anything that they want to, take, but what are the intentions? And that's the thing about what you bring into your body is what is your intention when you actually eat a food or take a supplement or not take something or take something, right? What is your intention? If your intention is to mitigate, is to lessen, is to, I don't know, anesthetize, then you're going about this the wrong way. I eat food because I want to live. I mean, I drink my coffee because I want to feel awake. I drink water because I'm thirsty. Um, sometimes I eat more food because I'm really hungry and I feel like I need to have that croissant or that donut or whatever. And so I don't eat food because I feel horrible. Some people you could say that yes, feeling a sugar drop makes you feel horrible. So when you eat that donut, it raises your sugar. But food is food, okay? And so if I'm trying to bring my body to the level of evolution to my environment and I'm feeling there's something going on, then yes, I'm going to use food, not as a remedy, but food as to help actually covalently bond. Or I'm going to bring in J juice if I feel like I want some energy because maybe, hell, I don't know, I'm going through an evolution and there's some stoppage in my colon and I want the extra push. Not because I'm trying to relieve, not because I'm trying to kill anything. Because then you look at then also the laws. See, that's the thing, is that when it comes to formulating a theory around anything, okay, and you're looking at the most basic thing that of why you do what you do is the fact to promote life, the laws of life and the laws of death. And this is where things get really difficult because you have to peel back all the layers of emotions and assumptions and stories and allegories and politics, religion, and science to get to the actual root, which is life or death. Is what you're doing promoting life, or is what you're doing promoting death? Are you violating the laws of life, or are you promoting the laws of death? And that's what it comes down to. And so, then it becomes about whatever you bring into your body needs to be converted. You can bring a little bit less CMOS, more J juice, and more food. If you bring in more CMOS, but less J juice and less food, that'll have an antibiotic effect. You're going to violate the laws of life at some point. If you bring in a lot more of the kombucha and the apple cider vinegar and less J juice and less food supply, then you're going to have an imbalance in your sugars. And maybe you might have more candida because candida is really yeast in your body that is, you need it, but when it's overfed because it's not balanced correctly with other elements, then you're going to have an infection or have other issues because of overfed yeast. Okay? And so you have to understand what it is you're bringing into your body, what your intention is, and what laws are being applied at any given moment. And so this is part of it almost is like the opening of some kind of trial where you have this specific, you know, um, point to make to convince you as a judge, jury, and executioner why it is that you should rule in my favor versus the other favor. And it is about preponderance of evidence. It is about what laws were violated and what laws were abided by. It is about what is your intention. And so when you think about the holistic medical industry, laws of the life are being violated all over the place. And so when you can prove that because of what they promote, which is antibiotics, antivirals, antibacterials, antiprotozoas, antifungals, anti-everything, antibacterials, whatever, then you realize that yes, they are violating the laws of life and trying to sell you life as if anti-life is life. And that is the crux of it all. So when someone is going, oh, you got to avoid the GMO and all this other stuff, I'm sorry, but genetically modified, I'm sorry, but 5G, and I'm sorry, but the chemtrails, all of that are just elements, energy, and just another forms of different bacterias or different nutrients put together to make the crop last longer, to have it shinier, maybe a new type of fruit like a moondrop grape or something. I mean, there really isn't anything wrong with genetically modified, but you have to understand it's about converting energy. And even with a vaccine, yes, vaccines have certain programming, but if you have a predominant programming that is very strong, then it's going to take whatever stuff is in the vaccine and convert it to your benefit. And that's what some of these activists don't realize, is they actually have the power to convert all energy and all elements. Everything is intelligent. But what happens is the lack of intelligence is what causes then the destruction of the intelligent being. And so it must take intelligence to come into your body to produce intelligent thought processes, intelligent reactions, intelligent actions. And if you're not bringing in all the intelligence in the universe that is it's either unavoidable or FDA approved or food, I don't care what it is, then you're going to lack intelligence because you don't have the data. Okay? Intelligence is just data. It's not always just a live being. It also, intelligence is data. That's why they call military intelligence. That's what they call an organization or a department. This is the intelligence, like the Central Intelligence Agency. The CIA right there tells you exactly. They're collecting data on everybody, trying to figure out who's going to freaking pop off and who's not. The CIA looks for people who breaks the law, and then they go after them. Okay? So they're collecting data every single freaking day. And so it's time that you become like the CIA in your world and become intelligent and bring in everything that is a food. Don't try to avoid, your atmosphere. I wear a mask sometimes outside because of the pollen, because sometimes but I'm going to probably go out there today as soon as my dog wants to get up. And I'll deal with the sneezing. But sometimes I just don't feel like evolving, so I'll just stay indoors until I'm acclimated. But it's really interesting to watch my body react to the environment when it's so like in your face, especially with all the pollen, and how fast my body reacts to get the excess pollen out. And yes, it will be like maybe 15, 20 minutes of me just hacking up lungs and hacking up loogies and blowing my nose. And you can hear a little bit of residual. But my body is so on point that it releases and it is able to kick out the antigen. And so that's where you ultimately want to be, is you want to promote so much intelligence in your body, which means that you don't avoid things, you balance it out. Okay? And so you see now in the medical holistic industry, it's all about avoidance. And the activists are all about avoidance. They can't adapt, they can't convert, they can't even evolve to any other level because they lack the intelligence. Not that they're not intelligent, but they lack the intelligence to be able to convert their environment. And so then you see the bigger picture. Well, I know why now people are not living indefinitely, why there's no immortality with the holistic allopathic, because they keep taking away intelligence from their body every single day, every single year. And every single time the body tries to evolve, they take out another organ, they bring in another antibiotic, and yeah. And so, yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so those that are out there are activists, they're just kind of screaming what they're already promoting. They're not anti-anything. That's the people that love that hate me on my business page. They totally actually like my information. Because nobody gives energy to anything that they don't agree with on some level. Okay? And so when you give energy to something, whatever it is, when you go to that page every single day and you're faithfully reacting, whatever it is, I don't care what it is, it means that you support it on some level. Okay? And so you will now see really how the world works as far as what people promote. And words don't always tell you the facts. Words can create worlds and it create perceptions and cast spells. But it's the actions that you see in people are what is the actual facts. All right, you have a good day. Bye.